But for Ukraine, this was still an almost impossible task, because the port of Novorossiysk was the most heavily guarded area after Moscow. This truck was stationed in the Odessa region, at least 600 kilometers away from the port. Behind the truck, 4 long capsules rose vertically, like 4 giant tubes almost extending the length of the vehicle, pointing toward the sky. The first 2 missiles were for the S-400 clusters stationed at the Kuban regiment. If this launch succeeded, Long Neptune would bury not just a battery, but the S-400 myth and Novorossiysk's untouchable legend. Approximately 900 kilometers per hour, just a few meters above the sea surface. But hundreds of kilometers away, the fate of a port and an air defense battalion hung in the balance. Until just moments before, the screen had shown only civilian traffic and a few routine tracks gliding slowly over the Black Sea. The Long Neptunes were flying just a few meters above sea level at that moment, literally skimming the sea surface. The S-400's theoretical range of 400 kilometers was, at that moment, only theoretical due to the curvature of the Earth. No matter how powerful you make the radar, you cannot correct for the curvature of the Earth. It was now both reducing its radar cross-section and advancing in a corridor invisible to the S-400s. Meanwhile, FP-1 and FP-2 kamikaze UAVs deliberately dove into the very heart of the S-400 radar lobes, forcing operators to lock onto weak, hard-to-select echoes. Soon, Long Neptune cruise missiles, each carrying hundreds of kilograms of explosives, would turn this screen and this city into a veritable hell from far behind the map. The drones were infiltrating at low altitude, occasionally changing altitude, jumping their radar tracks, and challenging Russian air defense algorithms. Some were heading towards coastal radar positions, some towards command centers in the interior, and some towards air defense batteries around the port. Then, the S-300 and S-400 batteries fired their expensive interceptor missiles. The white streaks piercing the night, the bright explosions opening up in the sky, were reflected in the sailors' cameras at the port like an air defense show. That slightly mocking, "Very nice," comment you hear in the background of those videos was actually a live description of the Russian air defense system consuming itself. Because right behind the FP swarms, over the Black Sea, 4 Long Neptunes were gliding along the wave crests, slipping in from the very bottom edge of the radar envelope, the dead band. A cruise missile flying just a few meters above the sea surface, remaining just within the horizon line, would only appear on the screen in the final moments as a faint trace. On a hill, a giant 96N6 radar antenna was spinning as an orange spot. Right next to it, the 92N6 engagement radar was visible with its rectangular panel. On a slope, 4 S-400 launchers parked side by side left a warm silhouette in the night's cold with their cylindrical tubes. The first missile, with a slight nose correction, settled on top of one of the S-400 positions. In the first moment of the explosion, the spinning head of the 96N6 was thrown into the air, its scattered fragments mowing down the surrounding equipment. Milliseconds later, some of the S-400 missiles inside the launchers also reacted and began to explode one after another. This time the target was the other launchers clustered near the 92N6 engagement radar. And finally, a series of S-400 warheads flying into the sky like an uncontrolled fireworks display. 2 96N6 early warning radars and 2 92N6 target acquisition radars were completely wiped out. The remaining 8 launchers were still on the field, but they were now nothing more than blind and deaf shells, unaware of what or how to strike. And at that very moment, the other 2 Long Neptunes had already entered from the Black Sea, following their deadly course towards Cheshire.